Here we have verse 22 of the 11th chapter, the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus is pronouncing rather significant rebukes against the towns with which he was most familiar and that were most familiar with him, where he had done his miracles for the most part, and they had been witnesses to these for some time. And of course, in many cases, they had not repented. They had probably been impressed by the displays of power, but had never really come to terms with the fundamental claims that were being made by Christ. And Jesus, of course, makes the point clear that if these works had been done elsewhere, naming well-known pagan cities, Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented. But here these cities of Israel that should have been the most disposed to recognize Christ are the ones that are the most hostile and indifferent to him. And so he's pressing that point home and making this rather striking concluding remark plain here. This is a coordinating conjunction, as it's called. It's an adversative. It is the idea of but it adds the notion of moreover, in addition to, and so on. So it has that idea. Moreover, we might put it, or but lego, first person singular, present active indicative of lego, I say, who men, the indirect object, dative, plural of the second person pronoun. So moreover, I say to you. Turo, this is Tyre. Kai, Sidoni, this is Sidon, of course, in the dative singular. So with reference to, or with respect to, or to Tyre and Sidon. And then enektoteron. This is from anekomai, verb. It's an adjective here, actually, as we find it in the sentence, but it's based on the verb anekomai. Anekomai is a combination of ana, which means up, and ekomai, from echo, to have. This is the middle voice, so to have something up in the sense of putting up with it. Enduring it would be the idea. And out of that is the notion of tolerating, and so that's really the sense of this adjective. More tolerable would be the idea. So with respect to Tyre and Sidon, it will be more tolerable. This is in the nominative, because it's functioning as a predicate nominative with the verb estai, which is the future of me. So it will be more tolerable. Substantive use of the adjective then for Tyre and Sidon, in preposition with the dative hemera, dative singular of the feminine noun hemera, which means day, in a day chryseos of judgment. So it'll be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon in the setting of judgment. This is a particle that means or than who men with respect to you, also in the dative, because of course it goes along with Tyre and Sidon. So the whole point here is that there is a gradation of judgments, and in some ways that Tyre and Sidon are going to fare better in a day of judgment than with these cities that knew more, and yet by virtue of knowing more, they became more culpable for their behavior. And of course, that's a principle that's pretty standard through the scriptures, that the more people know, the more exposed to adjudication they are. And if they don't repent, then their increased knowledge simply increases their guilt. And this is kind of a classic text standing for that proposition, and Jesus makes the point rather dramatically with respect to these cities of Galilee.